Northern California Oromo community, based in California, is to sustain the cultural values of the Oromo people, which include mutual respect, both at times of sadness and happiness. The organization aims to preserve the legacy of Oromo cultural values passed down from generation to generation. The last couple of weeks have seen almost every city and town in the Oromo region in Ethiopia as places of turmoil, ruthless beatings, killings, and mass murder of innocent civilians and students who took to the streets of Oromia in peaceful protest of what they thought as wrong policies of the current Ethiopian government's master plan, aimed at expanding Ethiopia's capital, Addis Ababa, into the surrounding towns and villages inhabited by locals. Such a plan has been protested against for its little or no consideration for the living conditions of the poor locals, mainly Oromo farmers who the new master plan is potentially evicting them off their ancestral land with little or no sustainable compensation. In a country like Ethiopia, where democracy and democratic principles seemingly have little or no value in the eyes of its leaders, where citizens cannot fully exercise both their birth and constitutional rights, and where gross human rights violations have got the attention of many human rights organizations. Oromo students have always ventured to take their voice to every street in Oromia in peaceful protest against ill-conceived plans of Ethiopian government in order to become the voice of their voiceless people.
Despite being one of the most conscious elements of their society, Oromo students have always faced all sorts of brutalities in the hands of the Ethiopian government security, military forces in their attempts to draw attention of governments to issues that matter most. The atrocities recklessly committed against Oromo students and civilians by Ethiopian government security or military forces since April 25, 2014 is a clear indication of how brutal the regime is. That Oromo students are denied their birth and or constitutional rights, and that there is no true democracy and democratic principles that tolerate or accommodate citizens who venture to become the voice of their voiceless people through peaceful demonstrations. The reports we have received so far show that over 100 people have been killed, 500 have reportedly been injured, and over 5,000 people have been detained in mysterious places such as government military barracks in the hands of Ethiopian government security and military forces. Northern California Oromo community afford to remain silent about the current brutal and inhumane military crackdown on peaceful protesters, Oromo students and civilians, in Oromia in the hands of Ethiopian government security military forces. We believe that the brutalities of our own people face back home is of grave concern to us, that we would like to bring this issue to the attention of the United States government and the United States civic society in particular, and the global civic society in general through government-owned and local media outlets in the U.S. As such, we would like to notify you in advance that our community members in Northern California are in a frame to hold a one-day public rally in San Francisco in protest of the brutalities being committed against Oromo students and civilians in order to give awareness to the general public and to draw attention to the issues of the Oromo people in the Horn of Africa.
Thank you.
Albi Sena. Sure, here is Albi.